And I think we can also be more open that whether it's a petition or writing letters or just sharing these incredibly frustrating stories, that you aren't just seen as dots on a map by the people who are making these decisions. And, you know, as Fleur said, I'm not making excuses, but I promise the council has done every single thing on its side of these plans. And if we can harness your help to help other bodies get things over the line, we'd be really grateful for that as well.
And can I just say something on people power? I'm really grateful that you've come on a you've given up your Saturday morning to come here to talk to the council and me, and I'm grateful for that. And it can work. It's not just, you might think, I sign a petition, I write a letter, does it do anything? Well, recently, the Queen Mary's Hospital announced it was going to close its minor injuries unit, enhanced GP hub. A local, one of the women who work at the Putney Mead Centre as a care coordinator, so she knows how valuable that unit is. She set up a petition at the same time as I was meeting the management for St George's, who manage Queen Mary's Hospital, and I was meeting with the Minister for Health. So I was having those meetings, and nearly 10,000 people signed the petition. So many of you here in this room probably, 8,000 people in a week. Now, when I sat in those meetings, I could say, look, we really need this. We need these for all the reasons why we can't be travelling to St George's, we can't be travelling to Kingston. We need that care here in Roehampton at Queen Mary's Hospital. And 8,000 people have signed a petition in a week. And the combination of that really made them think again in the management, and they announced in the meeting, I went there ready with all my arguments, this is why you must save it. They said, we'll stop you there, Fleur. We are saving it, we're definitely not going to cut it. So thank you for signing that petition. It really does matter. Another thing was the district line. So East Putney Tube Station and Putney Bridge Tube Station were nowhere near to the list being considered for the Transport for All scheme for step-free access. Nowhere near. So the campaign that I had at East Putney, and over 3,000 people signed that petition. Again, I was able to say, look, there is a real demand. And then look at your statistics. They should just look at the statistics anyway, but it takes public will, it takes the MP pushing for it, it takes for us all to be working in the same direction for them to listen. So we got onto a list of 30 stations originally, and now 2 weeks ago it was announced to be on a short list of 17 stations, of which East Putney and Putney Bridge are both on there to have fully funded assessments of what it will cost to be step-free access, and I hope that will come out as letters that will. It's frustrating, there are lots of stages, but if we're not on those lists, we won't even be considered, and we weren't on those lists to start with. So it's getting there, that's just how it works. And so it's knowing the timing of it, knowing who to get to, and then us all making that. And then the third thing was a really good news for us about Putney Leisure Centre. It's about 2 years ago, lots of people came to me and said there aren't enough facilities for children. And I agree, there aren't so many facilities for preschool children here in Putney. There are, I think, more in Tooting and Battersea areas of the borough. It's just an issue I have. But I took that to the council with a group of parents, and we actually went to Putney Leisure Centre and said, you know, it's a bit tired here, it's not good enough, it's not meeting our needs as local parents. And 2 years later, and 2 weeks ago, it was announced that the council are investing £9.5 million in a complete refurbishment of Putney Leisure Centre. I've seen the images of how it's going to be lovely. And right in there, because of those meetings and that petitioning by families and our meetings with the council, there's going to be a big soft play area, not just for preschool children, but for older as well. And that's directly as a result of people getting together and saying, that's what we need in the area. We can work together to make a change. So I just want to encourage you, it can make a difference.
Thank you. I am very conscious of all your time. I'm going to come to, we should have stopped, sorry, both of you, at least 5-10 minutes ago, talking about questions on this particular subject, but I'm going to take 2 more questions, if you'll bear with me. I've got a lady at the front here, and then I am coming to this gentleman here. You don't need to stand. To this lady here first.
Hi, my name is Sue. I live in Monterley Gardens. I just wanted to make 3 points about the Hammersmith Bridge. So I am on your email list, and I do appreciate how you're trying to help. You mentioned the figure of 240 million to replace the bridge. I'm unclear how much blue sky thinking has been done, because in my view, pull it down, I don't care what goes up, it can be ugly as hell as long as it works. The second thing, you mentioned the the infrastructure fund, and I'm a big believer that central government should pick up costs for bridges, not just London, whether it's Newcastle or Liverpool. But the other thing I'd like to say that has been a theme through this morning, I really don't understand the national government, TfL, you, Fleur, and you, Simon, are all Labour, and you're saying you can't get through to TfL?
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Right.
Frustrations. On the funding, I hope that the meeting that we had in January looked through all options, including just knocking it down, including a bridge around, including another bridge. It looked at all the different options. They've gone away to cost knocking it down and building it again, but I think in the initial costings of that, it would cost more to do that, and also it's grade 2 listed. So it's very, very hard to pull it down. Actually, what they've been tasked with is make that work, and that's why working with Heritage England really matters, that part of it. Why can't TfL act as an organisation?
Well, they can't
Totally
do turn up
part
for
of our
bloody
frustration
meetings.
all the time. They're not a Labour organisation, they are a company.
Okay, I'm moving on to the last question on this particular subject.
Hi, my God. Hello, my name is Kieran McCarthy. I'm the editor of Putney.news. This has been a little disappointing. I was kind of hoping you would come here and recognise what we all know, which is that junction doesn't work. It's not going to work. 5 seconds and 2 seconds here, it's not going to make any difference. The changes that have been made are not working. Cyclists don't feel safer, buses aren't getting through. It's going to have to change. So we are trying to get across to you that's going to have to happen. We're trying to get you there faster so that we don't have to live with this appalling traffic for any longer. That's fundamentally what's going on. If you're not aware of it, your emails and meetings are not working. They're not working. You say you'll have an email, have a meeting. It's not happening. We're not making any progress. So you have to come up with something new, okay? What you can do.
It's the junction with Putney Bridge and the High Street.
Yeah, the Putney Bridge junction simply doesn't work. What you can do, if you're not currently persuaded of this fact, is you can set up, as you have done at the council before, a task and finish group. Set up a task and finish group, allow them to gather information and data, and allow them to put recommendations to you as leader of the council, and they will tell you, I guarantee you, we need to redo this junction. It does not work. Let's not go into all the reasons now, but they're going to tell you that.
Go for it.
We need to move forward fast on this.
Yep.
In May, a woman died outside East Putney, crossing that crossing, which we had warned you about for years. And then she died, and then the process was, and to be fair, Fleur, you pushed it, we could see the emails, and the local councils pushed it, and now TfL is going to change the lights before March. It's going to be about a year to fix, so even if you push now on TfL, it's going to be at least another year that we are dealing with this appalling traffic. But you're not there, you're still trying to tell yourself that the design works. It doesn't work. It needs to be redone. Now, I had a quick look at the infrastructure approvals that you passed last week. You've got plenty of money. The estimates are to redo that junction will cost about 500,000. You've got 10 million in the budget for roads and transport. You've got, I won't go through it all, but you've got...
We haven't said it works. I don't think you've heard from me that I think that it works. And that's been the basis, and that's why we forced there to be a review of it in June before the schools broke up. That's because we've accepted straight away. Anyone can see it doesn't work.
Okay,
no one thinks it works.
You can turn this meeting around right now by saying, you're right, we will redo the junction, and all the communications from now on will be how we're going to get there and how long it's going to take. But I heard you say very clearly, Simon, that it's going to be the junction can work fine, we just need to tweak it.
No.
It won't work the way it currently is. We need to get
Quite right.
Thank you. Well, I think that I'm going to give both Fleur and Simon a moment to wrap up what you have heard from everyone today, because you both gave me a brief at the outset of this of ensuring that you wanted to hear a diverse, broad range of views on the traffic challenges that are being faced here. You've also committed to how you're going to keep people updated moving forward. So if I could ask you to both just take a moment to reflect on what you're hearing in the room and also remind everyone how they can continue to share their problems with you and what you're going to do from here, because back to the actions, that's what people are looking for here.
Thanks very much. Thank you again for coming today. Thank you everyone who's written to me about any issue. And there are so many other issues that we could have talked about today, but I absolutely had no doubt that this would be the main issue because, that's what I'm focusing on a lot. I have a monthly newsletter, e-newsletter. Please, I think lots of you have signed up, but please sign up to that, and I have an update every single month on what I'm doing on all of these issues. If anyone has written to me about Hammersmith Bridge or any other issue, I update people who've written to me on particular issues as well. So I also have surgeries, very regular surgeries. I will see as many people as possible today, but if you want to see me, do get in touch. I have surgeries almost every week. And I alternate them in person and online for whatever's easier for people. So, every Saturday I choose a different street and I go and talk to everyone on that street as well. So I try as many different ways to hear from you and represent you to the council in Parliament as much as I can. So, and I thank everyone who's got in contact with me because that's what makes my job possible to represent you. And you are absolutely heard on the junction, and I don't think you've heard at all that we don't think it's working. No one thinks it's working. It's how we can make that junction work. There's going to be a junction there. There is a bridge. There are 3 roads going into it. We need to make it work. But how we make it work is absolutely urgent, really urgent. And I will be taking the anger in this room, I hear it, to the meetings that I have during this week and beyond as well.
Absolutely, well said, Fleur. And sorry, this is like the Leaders' Roadshow, and the MPs don't always get so involved, but I think you're very, very fortunate to have a local MP like Fleur. MPs don't always have this level of absolutely forensic detail, and I promise she is in daily contact with me in my office on this issue, so she is representing your interests. I've heard exactly the anger, the frustration that we haven't moved faster, that we haven't got new results, we haven't communicated as well as we should have. What I haven't heard is a single person defending the current setup. Usually these things work for some people and not for others. This plainly isn't working, so just to be clear, that's our position. Everything is on the table to change this. I'm just making the point that if you were to start again, you'd have to reconsult. That would take several years to get consensus around and you to sign. So,
Don't forget it!
that's why I'm not. But we're looking at every other single thing, including those changes we've said. And I do think by the end of this month, you will actually see the initial round of changes we've got out of TfL will make a difference. And I know you'll hold us to that. We'll come back. We've held this public meeting covering every ward in the borough this year. We're going to do the same again next year. We'll be back to hear from you. We remain accountable to you. And on the point of the town hall accountability, there is a report coming to Transport Committee next month on this topic, which will have expert advice and reports feeding into it. I would never recommend that you go to the town hall to one of our committees, but you can log in online. We'll make sure it's first on the agenda at 7:30, and you'll be able to watch your representatives debating that paper and that investigation into how we can actually improve these things, because this isn't a side issue for the council. This is absolutely a central issue for the council because it is impacting so many people's lives. So thank you for making that so very clear to us.
Now, before we let you both off the stage, sorry, I know that you're both eager to have one-to-one conversations after this, but it would be remiss of me not to bring up some of the other questions that were brought to me before we started this conversation. And apologies, I can't quite spot the people who originally raised them with me, so in the interest of time, I'm pointing mainly at Simon here. Simon, a few people have spoken to me about the changes in the waste and the way in which waste is collected, There's been some complaints about the new processes, how it works, leaving rubbish behind and what that looks like. Now I know, having worked with you, that you are very passionate about cleaner streets specifically, but I think it would be really good for the residents here to hear from you about the work you've been doing focused on cleaner streets.
Absolutely. So, cleaner streets, top priority for us. Hopefully you've seen our Cleaner Borough Plan. It guarantees your weekly bin collections. Some councils are going monthly or fortnightly with the collections. We'll always keep it weekly, so you can put out your black bags, your recycling. I hope many of you are now doing food waste. Hands up if you've done food waste recycling. Wow, and she doesn't waste food, so she doesn't need to put any out. That's even better. And hopefully you know you can also get 2 free bulky waste collections a year as well. So that's 4 items. If you're cleaning out the attic, you need to get rid of a mattress. I was actually getting rid of a basketball hoop at a Mega Skip this morning. Mega Skips are something different. We've got our Mega Skips, you can bring bulky items there. But if you want us to come to your house and pick up bulky items, just go on the website. We'll come on your normal pickup day and pick them up. For people who live above shops, from this week we're doubling the number of bin collections that there are, so there's 2 a week. More convenient for them, but cleaner streets in our town centres for the rest of us. We've also increased jet washing in our town centres, and we're putting in 50 new street bins. So over the years, a few too many bins have been taken out. So if you can think of somewhere, particularly somewhere near a school or a high footfall area, where you'd like to see a rubbish bin go back in, please get in touch with me. And sorry, I should have said earlier, I'm Simon at wandsworth.gov.uk, so we only know what's going on if you tell us. Please just drop me a one-line email. If your bins aren't being emptied, if there's problems with parking, whatever it is, just Simon at wandsworth.gov.uk. And as Sam says, last year there was a problem when we switched over to a new way of collecting the waste, where there was too many missed collections. Sorry about that, but that has now come back under control, back to the level where it was before. And just to explain that, we went from having quite old split back trucks where they put the black bags and the white bags in the same truck to now having separate trucks. Obviously that's more efficient because you can fill up the whole truck before you have to drive all the way back to the depot. And just to say, those trucks now run on vegetable oil. So there's 90 brand new trucks and 90% lower carbon emissions than there were before.
Thank you, Simon. I didn't know about the vegetable oil.